But I'm glad y'all are here. And I'm here to talk about our wonderful paraprofessionals and how to support them in your rooms, because they are the heart of Cannon. They really are, and especially our paraprofessionals. And if they're not, we need to make them the heart of Cannon. Okay. I wanted to try this remote because I saw you use it, Peter, but then I didn't know if it had to.
You got to point it at the right-hand side, like an old TV.
Excellent. Okay, so here's what I really want to talk about. Our objective is we want our paras involved. We don't want to assume that they know what to do in your classrooms, because at the end of the day, their schedules are crazy busy. They're constantly moving and shifting their schedules. They're constantly in and out of rooms. If I was in 8 different rooms a day, I would not know what I was doing. Okay, that is a lot of pressure and a lot of things they need to do. We don't want them on their phones, point blank. If they're on their phones, it means they're bored. And we don't want them to be bored because they signed up for this job not to be on their phones. They clearly love helping people. They want to assist people. That's their whole job. It's their whole role. They're our helpers. And I think it can be easy to just say, oh, it's another body in the room, I can go use the restroom, which I do utilize, but you don't need to utilize it. Our goal is that they are working with our kiddos. Like, that's where we want them. We want them engaging, we want them interacting, we want them to be present when they're in our rooms and not feel like, I don't know what to do, so I'm gonna sit and wait for my next thing I need to do. That's not cool. They don't wanna do that, we don't want them doing that. So these are my 3 things I'm gonna say to you. You need to be ready, you need to be prepared, and clear is kind. And I was a little upset because Dr. Garrett stole my thunder when I was making this and talking about how I wanted to incorporate paraprofessionals. I actually reached out to Jessica Jimenez and Marlo, and we had a full-on meeting about it, just talking about things we were seeing on Cannon and on our campus and ways that paras have voiced they want support and how we can support them. And they shouted out Miss Sutton, talking about some amazing things she was doing. So I'm gonna start off with something that she did, which I personally have not implemented, but now I want to, is that she has something that the parents can do every single day. And I was gonna ask you to bring those cards, but I wanted to surprise you and chat you out. But would you take a second to explain what those cards look like and what you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I essentially, when I'm planning out my lessons for the week, I sit down after I've gotten all the things that we're doing for, like, tier 1 instruction, and then I sit down and I see, okay, what are my students, like the students who are struggling, what do they need to work on, and what resources can I use that I can give to Miss Curtis or Miss Jimenez. So I'm using a lot of the Start Right readers. I'm pulling a lot of things from HMH, like they have the little, I can't remember, they're like decodable text, and they're real short and they're real easy. So what I'm doing is I'm typing up just a quick, like Monday, do Start Right Reader or whatever page, and then Tuesday you can practice your spelling words and then read this little short story that follows the spelling pattern that we're working on. That way it's just real easy for them to come in and they have all their things and the kids know, and it's just easy for them to get to. So they know what they're doing, and I don't feel like when they're coming in, I'm like, oh wait, I've got to find something for you to do. So it's just easy on everyone's end.
And she did not know I was shouting her out, so that was on the spot, so thank you. A little round of applause for you. I give tiny claps in my room when people present, so it's not loud, it's tiny, so you can take that with you if you want. But no, she is all 3 of these things, and that was something we talked about in our meeting. Was she is ready, meaning she knows the teaks the kids need, and she has it visually on a card for those paras when they come in, and they know what location to go to, they know what the objective is, and they know exactly what to do, and it's consistent every single week. And I'll be very honest with you, these students at our school need consistency. Like, my biggest thing when I come into my room is it's the same routine, the same structure, I don't change it. Every single day is the exact same, just the content changes. Be prepared, you do that as well. So she's prepared, she has it ready for them. And just being clear is kind. So that's something that we really need to focus on, is what you say with your words and how you present yourself. Even if it's, they walk in and they're like, hey, what are we doing today? Instead of just being like, yeah, read the board. Like, just be kind and be clear about what your expectation is, so they know how to implement it and follow your classroom culture. Because every single classroom is different. They're not all the same. Teachers have very different teaching styles. And speaking of schedules, paraprofessionals, their schedules are crazy. They change daily sometimes. And it's impressive what they can and can't do and how flexible they really are. So we need to be flexible as well. So I'm gonna tell you some things that you can do if they come in at the beginning, if they come in at the middle, and if they come in at the end. Because ultimately, it's not always consistent. Sometimes they have to run downstairs to go help a kiddo and then they can come back. But we need to be ready for whatever time they have with us, because that's an extra person in your room. And you don't always get that time, and you don't always have someone in your room, so when you do, you need to utilize it. So when they're in your room at the beginning, there's many things you can do. Have them check in with those students. You know who those students are that they need to see. They look in their binder every day and start working on that. Just have them come in and check in on those kiddos, help them get ready for your whole group. Because typically in the younger grade levels, have a lot of younger grade levels in here, you start off with the whole group instruction. And some kiddos, they have a really hard time just transitioning to the carpet. So maybe whenever they come in, their first thing is, hey, check in with them. How are they feeling? Okay, now we're gonna walk you to the carpet. Make that their job. Hey, please walk little Johnny to the carpet every day. Another thing is they are help. So if you have a lot of things you're distributing for that day, like, oh man, I just forgot to staple these packets, or I know the highlighters need to be out for this reading time on the carpet, give them the opportunity to actually distribute those materials. I know when my parent comes in my room, I'm like, hey, I need these passed out here and I need this here, and then we'll get started with your small groups. Because they want to help and they want to be a part. It's just telling them, you need to have that voice and tell them. Don't ever assume that they know what to do. A big one I utilize is simply just whiteboards and markers. If you don't have them, I have extra ones, come ask and I'll give you some. But a little whiteboard and marker goes a long way, and it could be something as simple as, hey, when you're sitting with that person on the carpet, would you just draw out what I'm doing while I'm speaking so they kind of understand? Or when they're talking, ooh, you could give a tally reminder, hey, you blurted out, remember that's something we're working on. But just giving them a simple material where they can talk with the kiddo that's in that room can really make them feel a part and engaged, and can help that kid stay on task and focused when you're trying to teach all of the other children in your room. The other one is reviewing key concepts, and I kind of tie that to the whiteboard and marker, or just simply sitting with them when they are at that whole group lesson, and that while you're teaching what you're supposed to do, they can kind of either pull them to the side or kind of have a little small moment where it's like, oh, she's talking about adding one digit numbers. Let's try to add some with our fingers together. And just be mindful that hey, while I'm doing this whole group lesson, would you go and pull them to the side and just practice some of these strategies? And have manipulatives ready. If you don't have manipulatives, come see me. I got plenty, but I know there's lots that we have in the science labs. You could easily just say, hey, while I'm teaching this, would you mind doing these counter blocks with them on the side while I'm talking? But just being clear as what you want when they walk in, even if they're coming in the middle of the lesson, have it ready like Ms. Sutton did. Just say, hey, these counters for this time. If they're coming in the middle of your group of your lesson, they better be a part of your small groups. Notice that's the only thing I put on there. That's what we want. Our main goal is we want them to be involved in our small groups, in our rotations, with those kiddos, because they are an extra help, an extra layer. So if you're not implementing them in your small groups, do it now. Put it in your schedule for next week, or actually this week, because they need to be a part of what you're doing. And it's really easy to just have them form a group. I know when my paraprofessional comes in, it's Ms. Powell, when she comes in the afternoon, I'm like, okay, here are my things, here's what you need, go in the hallway. Now for my kiddos, they need to be pulled into the hallway to focus, because that's something we're working on with them, is just really focusing. But maybe for you, it's a quiet spot in your classroom, but make them a part of your rotations. I have another team partner who she actually gives her a whole small group station for her classroom, because it is one of the SPED cluster rooms. And so when they are rotating, one of the rotations is her, and the other one is Ms. Powell. And so they're actually on the board, a part of the lesson, so that way they are also included, so there's multiple eyes. And I see Ms. Crowder shaking her head because she does that as well. Mm-hmm. I think with Ms. Huggins, right? Are you in Donaldson? Donaldson, that's right. But really utilize those bodies in your room and make them a part, and put them on your board. Make it an expectation that the kiddos know, hey, these people are in our room and they're a part of this class. And then if they come in at the end, typically that's where an exit ticket might be in math or science, or even sometimes reading. We do exit tickets just to check some quick things. But make them a part of actually leading the exit ticket or checking and walking around to the kiddos that are working on it, especially the ones that need that extra focus. Really, they should be with the kiddos that they're serving, but if those kiddos are doing okay and you need extra help somewhere else, don't be shy to be like, hey, can you support them, and I'll be on this kid right now. Helping an independent practice. So if the kids are they come in and now the kids are all independently working, instead of just being like, oh, they're trying something by themselves, you can just wait. Like, have them actually check in with some of those kiddos that they do work with, really sit with them. If they're really struggling, move them to a different place. But make them feel like they are in charge and leading that area, because those kids are their expertise. That's who they're wanting to see. That's who they're documenting. That's who they're checking on. And then the last thing is actually creating checklists for them. And that's for the kiddos. Like, you could get a whiteboard or something to say, hey, did you put your name on the paper? Hey, did you make sure to follow that word problem or read each step? But giving them a quick checklist of questions they could ask the kids who are working on that independent practice is a quick way to help those kiddos continue to stay on focus and have the parents be involved in the class. Now, the Uno reverse flip it, yes, it is an Uno reverse flip it card, because ultimately this is helpful. And if
Tap on a.
Tap on the clip to paste it in the box. Touch and hold the clip pin to pin it.
What is?
Oh, maybe this one? No. Wow. Well. Let me try one more time. Oh, come on. It would be the last time I do it.
There you go.
It just wanted me to try to give up a little bit, and then I was gonna let me. Come on, you can do it.
There.
Alright, so you're going to paste it a lot faster than I did. It actually doesn't take that long normally, especially when you do it on your computer. And then, we're gonna go again with copy paste, but then you'll put in your topic that you actually want, or you can just give them clear instruction on what you want to be in the document. So in this case, I was said, use this standard to create 3 multiple choice word problem questions. Include fraction bars, fraction strips, and fraction circles. This is gonna be a lot faster because I'm just gonna hold it with 2 and wait for it. And you're going to let me copy you because you're nice to me. And we love our new line boards. See?
I think that the keyboard needs to go away, right? For it to do it.
Maybe. There we go. Copy. And paste. Let me paste that down. You can do it. I believe in you.
I think the words are right there in the little clipboard. Can you click it there?
Yep, it is. Excellent. Thank you for that feedback. Okay. So then you're
So the
going
clipboard
to
did
put
work.
what you want in that next box, and then you just click generate, and it does the work for you. You don't even have to come up with it. And I like it because they are aligned with what the district wants us to do. It's using the standard that we've been given, and you can edit it if you do not agree with what it's saying or want to change some names. But I really like this, and then it gives us 3 problems that they could do, and then you can actually click export and print it. Now typically, I don't know why this one did not, but typically it does have an answer key at the bottom, so you do not have to figure out what it is. Now if it's simple, you can quickly, if it's 3 questions, you can quickly make an answer key, just circle the right ones. Just click export, and then you can automatically just print it and have it ready for the parents when they come in. But that's something that I utilize, and I utilized it, it wasn't Magic Tool that I used last year, but I used something that was like Magic School last year in my math class to do this, and it's just really helpful. And then you can do the same thing with reading, but what you can do is actually pull the passage from iReady, and instead of typing in like, make a story about this, just straight up copy and paste the fluency passages in there, and then it will actually populate questions that go with that story, which is something that Miss Marlowe said she uses every week. So I'm gonna show you how to find those passages if you don't know how to, but it's the same thing where you would put in what it's called, the text-dependent questions. That's what it's called on Magic School, text-dependent questions. So I'll show you that real quick too. And maybe this time I'll be a little bit better at copying and pasting. And you could probably use this with a science article as well. You definitely could. We should go do that. And search, please. The results. Well done.
ENT.
Oh, you're right. I'm a reading teacher. Oops. Here it is. Text-dependent questions. Okay, so in this case, I decided I was going to do 3rd grade text-dependent questions in reading, and you could do any grade level if you wanted to, though. And then you can actually pull the text from iReady, so you just go back to Canva. Sorry, not Canva, iReady. Don't make me keep you up, please. go to iReady. If you find it for me, let me know.
Bottom.
Right there, bottom.
Right there. Right.
Last row.
Bottom cube.
Bottom right.
Bottom right there. Excellent. Okay. So you'll go to assess and teach, and then you will go to instruction. And what's it, instruction? You know, it was, oh, right here, just resources, and it's the reading fluency practice. Now you can do it based on what levels your kids are at, what grade level they're reading at. I do have some students that are reading at a first grade reading level, so I actually have pulled this one before, but you can click on the teacher form and then there's student forms. I normally just click on the student form, but of course this is not gonna download because, should have known that, should have remembered that. Here's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you my computer.
Click on the 3 dots.
Never mind, Alejandra's gonna save the day.
I think so. I don't know. Go to
Share.
yeah, like when you go print. Go print. But you're not actually gonna print it.
This
You
is
can
bypass.
excuse.
Oh, excellent.
This is the
Wow,
bypass.
wonderful. Look, I'm learning something new in both.
But I can show you how to download Adobe so you can actually open them
Okay, so let me.
afterwards.
So you would copy and paste that into the actual passage part, and then you would just put what kind of questions you want. So if you just want to say, I would like 5 comprehension questions, and if you want to have multi-step or multi-things you wanted to do, and just put exactly what you want it to, what to say, and then it populates those questions and also gives you the key for that. But so that should be something you should utilize is Magic School. It's really fast, super easy, and it's a great way to engage your paraprofessionals because you can say, hey, I have this to go along with the passage we did in HMH, or have an extra passage. Can you read it with them and then answer the questions with them as well? Okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about is your students are capable. It doesn't matter what level they're at, it doesn't matter where they are in your classroom, your students are capable of achieving mastery at whatever level they're at and growth wherever they are. So I want to tell you some things that your students can do because there are emergencies on our campus where the parents do have to rush out or do need to go support. That walkie goes off and we all know, okay, they're leaving, like, and it's time. But what do we do when they are gone and we need our kiddos to still be doing something? Because there's always something they can do, always something they can learn. Could be big, could be small, but they should be learning and not just sitting or waiting or on the ground. You know, they need to be interacting and engaging with your materials as best of tier 1 as they can be, because they are tier 1 students first. That is their whole role, is to be a tier 1 student, to learn what they need to learn, and we need to treat them in that way, okay? So, I didn't have a lot that I wanted to pull because this should just be something that's quick, that, oh no, emergency, let's just pull something. Flashcards. You can differentiate this in many ways. I've done it a bunch of different ways. Sometimes I just have them read them and practice them, memorize them and say them out loud. Sometimes I'll have pull a whiteboard and say, I want you to write it down and write the answer. Write it down and write the answer. But that repetition of flashcards is, honestly, I just think it's wonderful. We don't use a lot of memorization anymore. They do a lot of different things that build off of it, but straight memorization is some things, sometimes kids just need that. So that's an easy, quick thing that you can pull. You could also do that with spelling and vocabulary, very similar. You could just have them work on writing those words, or if it's phonics, having them practice the sh, sound, S-H, sh, using like something to like move their finger along, but something that's super quick that they could just come, okay, sit by my small group table until they come back. Sora. I love that everyone has access to this now. Does everyone use Sora or utilize it? Kids are loving it. This is audiobooks, and most of our friends that are getting those supports from the paras, they're having trouble reading anyways. Lock them in on Sora, they'll be so engaged like that. And then the last one is clearly iReady. You can assign lessons on iReady if you haven't done so. I think we learned that in our last iReady session, so you should know how to do it. If you don't, give me an email and I'll come downstairs and show you how to do it. And then the MyPath. MyPath, there's never enough time that we can put them on the MyPath. There's so many minutes they need to get in a week. I know that I'm struggling to meet those minutes a lot of weeks just based on the kids that do get pulled. So when they are in your room, utilize that time. And I was even gonna hint on the fact that you can use iReady in your small groups. Please use them in your small groups. That's an excellent 15 minutes every day where they know what to do, they know how to get on it, and your parent can walk around and monitor. They don't want to help them. Don't let them help them on iReady, because that does move with what they're doing and would skew their data. But just know that if they did need to leave, just say, okay, time to get on iReady. And I have a few friends every day, they come in and something does happen where someone needs to leave, and I'll say, okay, where should you go? And they're like, iReady. I'm like, all right, get on it. But that's really all that I have. I really just want to open the time to talk about different things that you're seeing with paraprofessionals. And I do have some paras in here, like what are needs that y'all are still wanting or have, because y'all are important and we love you. So thank you.